Well, hello YouTube, back in the shop. Yeah, that's right. We got everything primed, ready to go. Now I have the fun task of taking all the parts out of the frame. You guys saw my last video. You know how I feel about the frame. No, just didn't work for me. You know, it just didn't. Yeah, I'm just gonna build a table, a parts table. Next, when I paint the wings, which by the way are being crated, and they should be here, and everything. So yeah. So when it comes time to having to prime those, I will just have a priming table that I'll set up, which is basically a mesh on top of a frame, so the air can blow through it, so it doesn't catch apart. So today, what I'm gonna do is I'm going to take all these parts out of the frame and everything, and then probably throw the frames away. Yeah, throw the frames away. So yeah, that's what we're gonna do today, and we'll proceed. So yeah, I got a lot of parts to remove. I got to retag things, make sure things don't get lost. Do an inventory, make sure I have everything. There were some parts that did come. I just realized that there were some parts that did come. Some of the other brackets and stuff. So I'll have to paint those. They don't have to be painted now. So I'll go ahead and do that, but I'll get these frames out of here, get some room in here, get these parts off, and then get the frames out of here so I have more room to work. And then we get into assembly. Yes, tail section being assembled, which is not, that's not a bad thing. So stay tuned. You guys know the routine. This plane's not going to build itself, so I got to get to work. All right, YouTube. So I did a little quality control. I found out that, yeah, I just do not like putting them in the frames. It's so much better if you can hold them in your hand, or put them on, hold them in your, put them in a table. I had to do some touch up. I had a lot of touch up actually I had to do. And so I just held them in my hand and then sprayed them and everything. Actually, oh my gosh, I cannot believe, did I forget one? See, nope, that's just the color. That's just the light hitting it. I was like, oh my gosh, I missed one. So I just hold them in the hand. And let me show you the paint that I'm using since I have it out. So it is the Exo Noble, I don't know how you say it, but it's a two-part epoxy primer. So A and B, part A and B, you mix it equally, and everything. So yeah, so that's what I'm using. When mixing this stuff, I would highly recommend. They're in the garbage can, but let me show you. Go down to your local Tractor Supply or whatever, and get yourself some real large syringes, these monster syringes, and you can do that. I could probably clean those out and reuse them, but I'm just going to get new ones anyways. So yeah, get yourself some really large syringes. That's the best way. Suck it out and then put it in. You can go to any one of your hardware stores and get these mixers. You know, get different sizes. This is my cleaning one, so that's why it's the big one. So where I do all my cleaning for my air gun. So yeah, get those. Also, Harbor Freight sells. I have the really nice ones. If you see them all the way back there in the back, right? Get my finger there, right there. Those are the 3M. Those are the disposable, but you can get Spectrum's version of that. And so what it does is that way you don't have to clean out the paint holder. These basically it's an insert that goes in here with a top, and you can pour your paint in there. When you're done, you just throw that out. It's good to go. So it keeps you from having to clean up a step. You can get the Spectrum version. Mine came. They had a special on them when I bought the gun. It has all your mixing marks on there too, so you mix them up. Now let's talk about guns. I have a Surefine, which is a really nice gun with on a turbine system instead of an air system with spraying. I bought this. You can get away. This is a Spectrum Spider, I think they call it. It's their higher end one that you get at Harbor Freight. I really like these. I didn't know how I would like it, but I will tell you this. I painted some cabinets with it over about 2 weeks ago, and they turned out phenomenal. So I really like this. I like the control because you can control the air here. Not really the pressure, but the pressure coming out. We'll talk about controlling the pressure to the gun itself here in a minute. And then this here allows you to control the fineness, how far it spreads out, or so you can do spot, so you can control this. I just keep this all the way open. And then the back one, which is not in, is how much you shoot. It's attached to this needle here. So, and then this is the attachment that you put on here to allow you just to clip onto the thing. It's really easy. Highly recommend some kind of disposable cup system. That way you don't have to worry about that mess. Cleaning the gun is very important. A lot of people, you don't have to clean your gun. Now, if you're going from different coats, like if you're going from a base coat to a top coat or to a clear coat, yeah, you have to clean your gun between coats. But if you're going, primer, you can the primer will sit in the gun easily for an hour. This stuff has got some really high viscosity. In other words, almost like water when you mix it up. So it will stay that way for quite a while. Rule is when you're doing epoxy paint, stir it up, mix it up, wait about 15 minutes, and then shoot it, and everything, because you want that epoxy to kick to start bonding. That will really help you with overspray. If you let it for about 15 minutes, you kick. Yes, you're gonna have overspray, but let me tell you something. With epoxy paint, that overspray, the minute it hits the air, the atmosphere, those droplets actually are pretty much dry. So it becomes dust. So yeah, it's that quick. You'll get that dust, but it's not the sticky kind of dust that will stick and ruin things. So the thing is that, yeah, so give it about 15 minutes, let it kick a little bit, and then do it. Typically, overspray will travel about 10 feet, and then it just falls out of the atmosphere. You should still have some kind of backdrop. I did have my other backdrop up. I took it down because it started to get windy, the one that we were using yesterday. But you should have some backdrop up anyways. But yeah, the overspray, it'll go about 10 feet, no more than 20 feet, especially this stuff, and it's dry. And how do I know? I actually sacrificed. I put my white truck about 20 feet away, 15 feet away, and where the wind was blowing, and I sprayed the overspray because I want to make sure, because we got these guys, right? I got these guys right here and down the road. So I didn't want to get overspray on there or be accused of doing overspray. So I actually parked my truck 10 feet away, sacrificial truck. I shouldn't show you my license plate. Who cares? Yeah, Coast Guard. Sacrificial truck, 10, about 15 feet away from where I was spraying. I sprayed it, and then I went to my truck, and I went to go feel if there's any overspray on it, and there wasn't. So yeah, just a rule of thumb. Don't recommend you do it, but yeah, rule of thumb: 10 to 20 feet, you're good to go. On a bad day, 20 feet on a bad day. It's real windy out there, real turbulent. It's real hot in Florida, so that stuff. And I will tell you, I was holding the paint in my hand, and actually I had my sleeve where it is today, and you can see there's no paint on my hands. I did have gloves, came up to here, I'll just be honest. Gloves up to where my watch was, and I don't have any paint on them. So yeah, so just be careful. Now, with your gun, it is very important if you're using an air hose system, if you're using your air hose, you need to get I got a really nice gauge. Now this is reading 4, but when I pull the gun, it goes down to HPLV, the green section there. This is made for HPLV. And so you want to make sure you have a good gauge. You don't want any more than 20 pounds or the flow PSI about 20. And this gun's rated for 28. And so I keep it about 20, and that works fine with me. So you want a really good gauge. The other thing you want to do is, because especially here in Florida, we get a lot of, our humidity as I'm sweating here now. So you want to have some kind of dryer or filter on that system, right, to dry. And you can get these. I do have the Harbor Freight version. I got these from Deblaze, I believe, Devez Paint Supply. So I wanted to make sure I had a, really good dryer. And these things actually work really well. And pull pull that in and it dries out. So make sure you get yourself, if you're going to use an air gun like this, make sure you get yourself an adjustable. Do not trust the gauge on your compressor. Get a standalone, hook it in line. And yeah, it's a pain, but it's well worth it. Now, if I was doing this in the shop, I didn't do it, but typically what I would do is this one would clip to my paint smock that I would wear, and then I'd have another hose coming out of here go into my gun. So that's typically how I do it, but today, because I was just doing touch-up, it was just easier to hold it. But if you're doing a lot of painting, you don't want this part flipping around, hitting your part, especially if you're painting cars or boats or anything of value, right, where you're trying to get a really good coat. So yeah, you clip this on the back of your paint smock, and then you run another real lightweight hoses. I got them floating around here on the, there's some right there on the floor, super lightweight, and then I clip in and then do that. So yeah, so I got everything repainted or touched up that I needed to. I'm really happy with it now. Now I am happy. I was a little disappointed when I came in. I will tell you, I will not use those frames ever again. They went in the trash can and everything. Oh, before I forget, cleaning. If you get, it's very important that you clean your gun. I use lacquer thinner. I know you can use acetone. I use acetone to clean the part. I find that lacquer thinner works better when cleaning up the epoxy paints and stuff. So it's very important, you know, take the time, take your gun apart, completely apart, all the springs out, everything, inspect stuff, and clean it. Make sure you clean inside your nozzles, and, you know, get yourself the cleaning kit from Harbor Freight if you're over there. It comes with all sorts of brushes and stuff, but make sure your parts are really clean. Do not wait. You know, get those things clean and stuff. It makes life a lot easier for the next guy. In this case, I am the next guy. So make sure your parts are clean. Also take the time to inspect. Spider, this Spectrum has 2 gaskets, so make sure those are still in good shape, you know, and everything. I'm shooting a 1.7. Typically on primer, I like to shoot a 1.8 needle. That's basically how much comes out. I typically like to shoot a 1.8, but I will tell you, this primer is not a high build primer, and it's got a very high viscosity. In other words, it's a very liquidy. So a 1.7 needle is fine. That's what you get at Harbor Freight. That will work perfectly well for this. You don't have to go up to the 1.8. I think you can actually shoot it with a 1.3, to be honest with you, but you know, I haven't done it yet, but I can tell you the 1.7, you can buy these Spectrums. They don't sell the needles by themselves. That's the only downfall. You have to actually buy the gun with the needle that you want. So when you go to Harbor Freight or whatever, you know, make sure they have the needle. But happy with the gun. It did its job. It does everywhere. Like I said, I painted some cabinets. They turned out great. And so I said, heck, if they work good enough for my furniture, they'll be good enough for my airplane. So that's about it. It is hot here in Florida today. It's about 89 degrees, and it is humid and everything. So I'm going to pack it up. I'm going to get out of here. I got to let this primer kick in anyways for a day or so. I will tell you, just doing some scratch testing. So here's a part here. I took, see, that's what happens when you drip sweat on a part. That's what that is. That's a sweat ring. So what I took some of the red Scotch-Brite pads and scratch. I had some paper that got stuck, not to this one, but to another part. I could not get this to come off using that Scotch-Brite pad. I mean, that's how durable this paint is. I mean, it's just, I mean, look. I mean, I'm scratching it with my nails, and I do have nails, and that's how hard this stuff cures up. So really happy with it and everything, and stuff. So all right, I'm gonna stop showing you my bench, my dirty bench. But once again, there's the paint I'm using. I got this from Sky Geek. Actually, I ordered this from Sky Geek. Wasn't too bad. It was $243. Oh, shelf life on this is probably about 6 months to a year. So you got to use it within a year. I'm going to be using it on the wings and everything, and I will probably still have half a gallon left over. So I'm probably gonna find someone who needs some. If you're in the Crystal River, Florida area and you need some paint, let me know. Or touch up. I got some. I will have some left over, but that's also important too. When you buy this paint, make sure that you check the expiration date. So this is 0423, so 22. And this is at the storage temp. So I'm not storing it at 100. I'm storing it shelf life 24 months, 12 months. So this will tell you 12 months usually is all it's good for. So I've had this for about a month and a half now. So manufactured it. There you go, 421. Oh my gosh. So it was manufactured 421. But yeah, this tells you when it's expired, shelf life 24. So yeah. So yeah, I gotta get using it and everything, which I will. Like I said, the wings are on their way, and I gotta prime all those parts and stuff. So so I have plenty of reason to dig back into these cans. That's about it. Like always, leave your comments. Oh, PPE. Make sure you wear your mask. This is stuff you don't want to mess with. You don't want it in your lungs. It doesn't. Your body will not digest it. It will coat your lungs, and next time you get an X-ray, they'll think you have pneumonia because it will put a shade on your lungs. I've seen it. I've seen X-rays. People that spray this paint and don't use the proper PPE. If you don't have, I have safety glasses that I wear so they cover my whole eyes. But if you wear glasses, or if you don't wear glasses, make sure you also have eye covering too, because this stuff is pretty nasty and everything. So, all right, enough of that being said. I just want to say thanks for joining me in the shop today. Be well. Pray for the world. Ukraine, the people in Ukraine most of all, and but most, pray for the world. Pray for peace and everything. But we pray for peace, but get ready for war, kind of deal, right? Unfortunately. So Godspeed, and like always, God bless. Be safe.